Netflix have done it again. They've given us another fantastic anime to watch, and I couldn't be happier. Netflix seems to give us either awful anime or fantastic ones, with no in between, and I fully expected Romantic Killer to be one of the bad ones. Why? For starters, it's a comedy and humour is subjective, and secondly, because the studio is pretty new. Demerica has about 3 other anime that they have made, and all 3 have a score of around 6 on my anime list. So I really expected Romantic Killer to be a flop. And yet Romantic Killer somehow ended up getting a score over 8 on my anime list, despite America's previous efforts. The biggest surprise to me with Romantic Killer was the show's animation. The animation is pretty good. It saves the animation for certain jokes, but then takes advantage of the show's weaker animation segments to heighten certain other jokes. A lot of thought was put into when and where the animation should really pop, and for which moments in the show they can have less animation without ruining the scene. I'm very impressed with this show's animation strategy. Usually when you watch an anime, the animation is overall quite flat, and then out of nowhere it just goes crazy for a particular action scene. It's like when a YouTube video goes from 360p to 1080p out of nowhere. It can be quite jarring. I like that Romantic Killer has a more consistent feel to its animation, while still being able to have moments of great animation in my opinion. Obviously this goes without saying, but don't expect ufotable level animation from the show. Just expect the characters to actually move every now and then, instead of staying static whilst their mouths occasionally flap. Romantic Killer is also one of the few rare occasions where I decided to watch the anime subbed instead of dubbed. Now to clarify, I watch both dubs and subs. It's just that it's usually easier to watch an anime in Japanese than English, so when I get the chance to actually choose between the two, I usually default to English dub. Whether Romantic Killer, like Comic Can't Communicate and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure before it, was able to entice me into watching the Japanese audio, as the main lead is voiced by Rie Takahashi. Now if you don't know who this voice actor is, then I'll just say she's currently one of the most popular female voice actors in Japan, and is best known for voicing Megumin in Konosuba and Emilia in Re:Zero. Personally, I know her as Takagi from Teasing Master Takagi-san, but that is beside the point. She's a good voice actor and popular for a reason, so I thought that I'd watch Romantic Killer subbed, as I had little doubt that she would do a good job. Unsurprisingly, she was fantastic and delivered a great performance as Anzu. Speaking of Anzu, she just might be one of the best anime protagonists that I've seen in quite some time. She's a well fleshed out character with understandable motivations and qualms about the world around her. Despite being a quite over the top character, she also feels strangely realistic at times. Overall, she feels like a good, genuine person, and it makes it easy to see why all the hot dudes around her end up falling for her. I like that she stands up for herself and those around her, and I like that despite not wanting to end up with any of the guys that Riri presents to her, she still views them as human and still treats them like actual people. Hopefully it isn't too surprising, but I really want her to end up with Tsukasa. Their relationship highlights everything that I love about Anzu's character. She initially views him as a hot jerk, but in the same way that she knew the truth about the allegations that were levied against Saki, she's able to break through Tsukasa's tough exterior and see him for who he really is. He's a damaged man whose kindness was taken advantage of and weaponized against him. Usually, I'm not a fan of the hot character who's annoyed by the fact that they are hot and wishes everyone would leave them alone type, because it's generally not very interesting and is never explored in any meaningful way. Romantic Killer is the exception, and I could absolutely see how someone's perceived strength from others could instead be a major issue for them to deal with. Tsukasa's character progression in the show feels natural and earned, and he ends up feeling oddly relatable and real. However, this is a reverse harem show, so who else is in the harem? Well, there's Junta. Now, whilst I will again freely admit to wanting Tsukasa and Anzu to get together, I would also like it to be known that I do really like Junta, and I hope that he meets someone nice in the show. Junta is a nice guy, and that's about it to him. Okay, there's a bit more. When he was younger, he wasn't the most attractive guy in the parking lot, but Anzu was kind to him, and so he naturally developed a crush on her. Upon learning that Anzu was into sporty guys, Junta made the decision to get fit and healthy, and his hard work paid off dividends. However, what makes Junta such a fun, and again, at times, real character, is that shyness and bits of anxiety from when he was younger have carried over into his teenage years. Junta hasn't fully gotten over his awkwardness from when he was younger, and it fully explains why he's never able to pick up the courage to actually ask Anzu out on a date. Though she would likely reject him despite clearly being into him, as she refuses to partake in Riri's diabolical plan. Then there's Hidri, who is unfortunately the least developed out of the 3 male suitors. He's also the least likeable and the least relatable, so I doubt anyone would actually want Anzu to end up with him. This isn't to imply that I hate his character, but instead to state that he's one of the weakest elements in a great anime. He feels the most like a stereotype and is the biggest archetype of a character in a show where each character typically breaks the mold. Again, I do like his character and he's clearly set up as the character that needs to change the most, but compared to both Tsukasa and Junta, he is clearly third place out of the boys. Romantic Killer was both able to make me laugh and make me anxious, especially in Tsukasa's storyline. The show takes a dramatic turn near the end of the season and it is dealt with wonderfully. Whilst magic is at play in this show, and the show does have some unbelievable elements by design, I love how it treated a very disturbing part of real life with maturity and respect. I won't go into details as I don't want to spoil the anime, but damn, this show didn't hold back on this one section near the end. All in all, Romantic Killer is a wonderful anime that you need to watch, and I can't wait to watch Season 2. Or that's what I would like to say. Yes, Romantic Killer is a fantastic anime, but Season 2 seems uncertain. Why? Because Romantic Killer is actually a full adaptation of the manga, and by that I don't mean that it caught up to the manga and they need to wait for more material. No, what I mean is that the manga is finished and the anime adapted everything. Yes, I know, this anime ends on a cliffhanger just like the manga. It is the most blue balls ending I've ever seen. I mean, it literally is blue balls for 3 people in the anime, but fortunately the anime ended with a to be continued, and from what I've seen, it does seem possible that the story could continue in the anime format. Now I hope it does, or I'll be annoyed for a while, but at the same time, if the anime continues, then we are going into uncharted territories. Who knows how good the anime will be if it goes off script. If the mangaka is involved, then I see no problem with a season 2, but as it stands, I have my concerns over both whether we will get a deserved second season to this anime, and whether it will be actually any good. But until we find out, all we can do is hope for the best, just like I hope you liked this video, subscribed and commented to say something nice, like Liam is the best. Anyway, that's all for today. Bye bye.